Welcome to Boleskine House. Boleskine House, according to legend, is meant to be built on the site of the church and the dead congregation from the church burning incident, detailed in our last video. Nothing can be proven about this, but it makes for a good story, a bit like the Overlook Hotel in The Shining. Boleskine House was built around 1760 as a hunting lodge for the Honourable Archibald Campbell Fraser, the 38th chief of the Fraser clan. Archibald was the third son of Simon Fraser of Lovat, who we again introduced in our graveyard video as the last man to be executed by beheading in Britain. The house remained in the Frasers family until in 1899, when it was bought by the great beast himself, Alistair Crowley.
The story is that Crowley was looking for a magical house to perform the sacred magic of Abramelin the mage. His requirements were that it was secluded, have a north opening door from an oratory room, and a terrace that could be covered with fine sand, thus creating a lodge where spirits may congregate. Crowley chose his house especially, paying twice the asking price, but Crowley's diary admits he bought it as it was already the centre of 1,000 legends, and that even before he arrived, there was a fine crop of the regular Highland superstitions. One of them seemed to be the fact the house was haunted by the rolling head of Simon Fraser. Many myths have developed around the house from the time of Crowley's ownership, which I cannot confirm. For completeness, they include an incident with a local butcher, not dispelling what he summoned, his lodgekeeper going on a wild drinking spree and trying to kill his wife and kids, another servant losing 2 children in mysterious circumstances, and something about a plague of beetles.
The purpose of this video isn't to dwell on Crowley, more to understand the house itself. Boleskine was eventually sold on Friday the 12th of July 1918 to Dorothy C. Brooke for £2,500. It then passed to retired Army Major Edward Eric Grant. On Tuesday the 8th of November 1960, he blew his head off with a shotgun in Crowley's bedroom. I've put a link below to the BBC documentary, which has a bizarre interview with the housekeeper, who laughs about giving a part of the Major's skull to his dog as a toy by mistake.
The house wasn't finished yet. It was part of one of the largest post-war scandals of our time, which somehow also seems to be the least reported. The house was chosen by Molly Lorraine, who felt compelled to own it after meeting the cousin of the Major, Mrs. Mary Grant. Strangely, Mrs. Mary Grant was actually Mary Lorraine, as she was in the process of divorce from her husband, the famous pilot Captain Anthony Lorraine. Boleskine was to be turned into a piggery, using a company called Cadco, a joint venture between her estranged husband and the actor George Saunders, not George Raft as reported by Wikipedia.
In a book written by Molly's son, the passageway between the house and the graveyard was confirmed to exist, as he used to play in it. He also mentions that over time, his mother changed and turned from someone who wanted to do up the house to someone dependent on alcohol. The link to the book is below. Don't blame me for the title, I didn't write it. The venture failed, with losses of £3 million. But from what I can see, no charges were brought. When the scandal hit, the pigs in the farm were supposedly left to die.
In 1971, Boleskine House was bought by Led Zeppelin guitarist Jimmy Page, who asked his childhood friend Malcolm Dent to look after it and supervise the restoration of the building. Dent is reported to have said, "Any time there was something major being done to the house, it was almost as though the house didn't like it. If we didn't get on with the job and get it finished, something would let us know about it. We would be wakened during the night with heavy doors banging all over the place. carpets and rugs being rolled up. It was as though it was a reminder to get on quickly and get the job over. Jimmy Page sold Boleskine House in 1991, and it passed through various owners until it mysteriously burnt down around 2016.
This, dear viewers, brings us to our new video.
Okay, so here we are outside Boleskine House, and here's Keith, who... So what is the situation, Keith? You own the house now, you put a bid in.
Right, my name's Keith Reddy. I'm a co-owner now, a new co-owner of Boleskine House estate, as well as a founder and chairman on the trustee board of the Boleskine House Foundation, which we've started recently. It's a registered Scottish charity, and its aims are pretty much to promote education on history, Scottish heritage, and primarily Boleskine House, and also to help restore the house and preserve it for future generations. Our primary aim is, first of all, to restore this historic building, set it up as a heritage landmark, and to help promote its history and legacy to the public. You can find us on our website at boleskinehouse.org and also on Facebook at Boleskine House Foundation. And we have many ways in which people can donate if they are interested in the project, and they can follow us on social media, several social media outlets. And there's just so much that we're uncovering about the history. It's very fascinating, and so much that I couldn't go into possibly any details right now. But please feel free to contact us, info@boleskinehouse.org, if you have any questions. Trying to separate fact from fiction, but
That's always a way. When we do it, we find out we're so disappointed, aren't we, Ange, about the fiction's just really good.
The Scottish love they love the old saying, you know, don't let the truth get in the way. Not originally a door, but just another window. But it's at an elevated position, and this is facing due north.
So that was part of the ritual, wasn't it? Something you said you had to have something.
Yeah.
Facing.
Yeah, Crowley did. Now, but this is definitely a representation of something that would have been a military installation early on. And we're starting to believe, again, we need more, we need to do more research, but we believe that this original facade could have been as early as during the time General Wade was building this road during the Jacobite rebellions.
Right.
We don't think it was the general's hut. That was a little further down where the lawyer's house is. We plan on installing a library in this wing.
Oh, beautiful.
We're going to reinstate the oratory as Crowley would have had it. Framed mirrors, lining. I think he had 4 big ones, and then he would do his ceremony in there.
Wow.
So I want to set that room up kind of historically in that sense. Mostly for our trustees to stay when they come and visit, our board of advisory. And then whoever else block.
Wow. Is the fireplace original?
Yeah. And then this you have granite.
So in the book that I was talking about, that's how I only bought it because in the book he says when he was a kid, he played down the cellar and they stopped him from going down to the graveyard. So the cellar link to the graveyard is there. My God. So what would that have been?
This is the front corridor here.
So you're coming from the front door.
Yeah, that's the front
Doing
corridor.
this.
Now, what you can actually see is you can see where this line?
All right, so that's the extension bit then you were
This
talking
is
about.
where the extension started. So this right here was the original, and it goes to the other end.
Wow. Well, a view though, isn't it? I can see why he come back. This is a bit I can understand as well when he said he bought this house based on a trip, and then he paid twice the asking price.
Who, Crowley?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it that was so I mean, there must be loads of things that have a north-facing thing, so this is why we'd be wondering.
According to his confessions, he looked up and down the country for the house that fit the perfect parameters. And so he chose this.
No, I keep thinking, did he choose this because of the location, or did he choose this because I think Boleskin Graveyard's a pretty creepy place, even though we don't actually. It just looks nice, but I think there's a lot of weird stuff going on down there.
I think he felt a certain pull to this area. You know, there's it's rich with history. The place already had kind of probably an interesting reputation.
I forgot what the word was now, but yeah, he did say in his confessions that it has got the history that he was looking for as well. Are we going down?
Yeah.
Wow.
Be careful here.
Okay. Are these bottles original?
Hmm?
Are these bottles original?
Oh, they're from the last owner, I imagine. So, I've not been down here to investigate much, but I would assume maybe this.
Yeah, they must have bricked it up. I was expecting something bigger than this.
Maybe here,
Yeah.
because it looks like something was put there, you know.
Well, he definitely says in his book they played in the cellar and they barricaded it up. Or they were told not to come here again. Oh. Then I was expecting to arrive at the other end of the Boleskin Graveyard. Oh my word. Which is the room that the maid just shot his head off in? Was that in
I don't know.
Charlie's bedroom?
That's the idea, and that would have been that room I showed you. Or, well, no, that's the oratory. I don't know where Crowley would have slept.
But again, I look for these things. I look for the stories. I look for the, and then if I believe a story, I then try and find a newspaper article to back it up. Not that I trust the news, but at least it gives me another source. And there's nothing about him blowing his head off.
So there you have it. Boleskine House and the graveyard are complete. Or are they? Boleskine reminds me of a Scottish Bawley rectory, and the history and legends are fascinating. The more you look, the more mysteries appear.
I experienced a Boleskin effect in the graveyard on my first visit, and I haven't removed my protection since. I can sum up how this affected me quite simply: intense depression and a need to drink. When I got home, I decided to investigate this more deeply, and it's certainly awoken my belief in the other side. What astounds me is the number of people who have drinking problems after being in Boleskin. Crowley's lodgekeeper, Mrs. Mary Grant, who was actually meant to be a World War II resistance fighter, ended up as an alcoholic and burnt to death in a flat in 1973. Molly Lorraine also seems to have had alcohol issues after living there. I just can't shake my reference to the Overlook Hotel. I remember the main character, Jack Torrance, having a drink problem. And I would imagine the Major probably wouldn't just have a cup of tea when pointing the gun at his head. The other thing that interests me is the total lack of information on this location and the owners. Why is there such a news blackout on the Cadco affair? Why is there no newspaper entry for the Major?
What is behind the wall of the cellar? And where does the tunnel end up? And actually, why would you have one? Is there any truth to the story about one of the owners being blind and being left alone in this house when her husband separated from her? Finally, did the church actually burn down? So we don't always ask for anything, but in this case, if anyone has more information about the area or the house, please get in touch or leave a comment below.
If you want to get involved in the project to restore and investigate, please contact Keith on the links below. So where do we go now? Well, we are both pretty stubborn, so it probably won't surprise you to learn we are going back to the graveyard, probably after Christmas. I bought my special spirit detector. I am working out how to film locations in the dark. I'm even thinking about a spirit box, but I'm not really sure about them yet. As always, please give us a like or a follow if you want to see more and keep up to date with our next story. Thank you.